Mimbulus Mimbletonia isn't just a fun word to say, or the password to the Gryffindor Tower in Chapter 11 of the Order of the Phoenix. M&M's also a great plant to embarrass yourself in front of your crush, as Harry regretfully found out in Chapter 10 of the Order of the Phoenix. But M&M's just one of the many quirky plants that Harry and company learn about in their years at Hogwarts, and the greenhouses is where they learn about them. Today in another Castle Breakdown video, I take a look at Professor Garlick. I'll take a look at the greenhouses. Accio Attorney, a trustworthy muggle in the wizarding world. Though muggles may never get to take an herbology class, botany, or the study of plants, is our closest counterpart. And whether you're a wizard or a muggle, understanding plant life is important to help feed and keep the world healthy, among a litany of other benefits. The idea of growing plants in controlled areas has been around since the early 1st century. Emperor Tiberius and his love of cucumbers led Roman gardeners to develop their own system of year-round cultivation. That way, the Caesar would receive fresh vegetables on his table every day. Vegetables were planted in carts filled with soil, which were taken out in the sun every morning and rolled into literal warm rooms or greenhouses in the evening in order to keep them warm at night. But greenhouses didn't make their way to Scotland until much later. Scottish gardens first popped up around castles and abbeys in the Middle Ages, which ran from the late 5th century to the late 15th century. It wasn't until the 18th century, though, that Scottish gardeners got the reputation for managing greenhouses. Hogwarts was established during the Middle Ages as well, sometime in the 10th century, so assuming the Hogwarts greenhouses were around from the beginning of the school, wouldn't it be cool if the founders were the ones who brought gardening to prominence in Scotland? As the most reputable witches and wizards of the age, the founders had to have been aware of what the Romans were doing in the world, especially if the founders were druids who had a history of warring with Rome. No matter how greenhouses came to Scotland, though, the temperate palm house at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Edinburgh became the tallest glass house in Britain when it opened in 1858. Though that was 32 years before Hogwarts Legacy takes place, the temperate palm house rose to an impressive 72 feet. Even the Hogwarts greenhouse doesn't reach that high. Instead, we see in the game a doorway from the library wing that leads to a vestibule and then ultimately 5 different greenhouses. After entering the greenhouses, we see plants and trees of all sorts. On the left are greenhouses 1 and 2, and numbers 3 and 4 are on the right. Harry only used number 1 in his first year, and then in year 2, when they learn about mandrakes, they work in greenhouse number 3. Now, greenhouse number 5 is quite unique in that it's a very small and below ground. I don't think this could even technically be called a greenhouse, but it does perhaps give students an opportunity to study certain underwater plants, even if they don't have a place to sit. Now, the books and the movies are slightly different from what we see in the game. In the movies, we only see the greenhouses in 2 scenes. In the Chamber of Secrets movie, we get a flyby shot of the greenhouses, which are detached from Hogwarts, though still inside the castle walls. There appear to be 9 long traditional greenhouses, with a 10th domed greenhouse acting as the gatehouse. And in the Half-Blood Prince movie, we get a shot of Professor Slughorn surreptitiously snipping some Venomous Tentacula leaves. Here, there are greenhouses side by side, but they're inside a larger room, which also doesn't make sense to me because I don't know how these plants are getting any sunlight. We also learn that this area is outside of the castle because Harry had already walked through the front door to get there, which tells me that the greenhouses are between the front door and Hagrid's hut. Though they are mentioned often in the books, the greenhouses aren't described in much depth beyond where they lie spatially on the grounds. In Chapter 8 of the Sorcerer's Stone, we learn that Harry goes 3 times a week to the greenhouses behind the castle to study herbology. In Chapter 6 of the Chamber of Secrets, we learn that Harry, Ron, and Hermione had to cross the vegetable patch after leaving the castle in order to make their way to the greenhouses. And if you were to continue walking away from the castle, you would eventually reach Hagrid's hut at the edge of the forest. Not only do the books not really provide us with much detail on the greenhouses, but we also don't hear anything about the herbology professor's office. nor do we even see one in Hogwarts Legacy. Most professors in the game have offices attached to or close by their classrooms. This includes Professor Weasley's Transfiguration, Professor Sharp's Potions, Professor Fig's Magical Theory, Professor Ronan's Charms, Professor Bin's History of Magic, Professor Kagawa's Flying, Professor Hecat's Defense Against the Dark Arts, Professor Shaw's Astronomy, and Professor Howin's Beast classes. That just leaves us with Professor Garlick's Herbology and Professor Onai's Divination classes without nearby studies. Curious. Another missing detail in the video game is the vegetable patch, or vegetable gardens as it's called in Prisoner of Azkaban. From J.K. Rowling's original drawings of the Hogwarts grounds, the vegetable patch was supposed to be located right next to the greenhouses. I wasn't able to find the vegetable patch by the greenhouses, but I think I might have found the other vegetable patch mentioned in Chapter 7 of the Chamber of Secrets. Here we learn that Hagrid also had a small vegetable patch behind his hut where he grew, potentially illegal, giant pumpkins. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you'll know that I like to speculate about potential secrets in different rooms and locations. Greenhouse 4 contains a trapdoor to a hidden Herbology corridor, and below that ladder is a giant Venomous Tentacula. Perhaps the Herbology professors propagate smaller Venomous Tentacula from the larger parent below.
Feed me Seymour.
But as you explore the rest of the corridor, it's less Herbology related and more hidden corridor related. And because of its secretive nature, I wonder if this passage was built as a smuggler's passage. If you think about it, many of these dangerous plants like Devil's Snare, Venomous Tentacula, and such could go for a lot of money on the black market. And I don't know how much Hogwarts teachers are paid, but it would be a great opportunity to make some extra income on the side. The hidden entrance on the exterior of the castle is in a secluded part of the grounds, and it's close to the water. Deals could easily go down at night and allow for the parties to leave undetected. And before you argue that Hogwarts professors are too honorable to stoop that low, Professor Slughorn was trying this very thing in Half-Blood Prince. Reading through the books, I had always imagined the greenhouses as a separate structure on the castle grounds rather than attached to the castle. So when I started exploring Hogwarts Legacy, I was expecting something more in line with the Chamber of Secrets movie version of the castle. Even when I saw the greenhouses on the Hogwarts Legacy poster, I interpreted them as being detached as well. But the developers decided to go in a different direction, and that's fine. I don't mind too terribly, although I think the area outside of the greenhouses was underutilized and could have been a cool focal point rather than something pushed off to the side. But what do you guys think? Thank you all for joining me for another castle breakdown video. Please let me know in the comments what location you want me to cover next, otherwise you'll be forced to watch what I pick again. And if you did like the video, please like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends to show your support.